All right, Black Ops, baby. We back at
Episode 1.
Man, oh, man. So I don't even, time of recording, right? We going into a new season. It's the end of the year, right? But we'll run this as it fits. And obviously, New Year's resolutions are a big thing, right? Even just setting goals is like a big thing. Folks looking at where they're at in their business, professionally, and trying to think through, okay, how do I get this to the next level, right? How do I double this? Triple it, give it to the next person, right?
I like that.
What are some of the things that you've done this year that you've seen have a big impact on growth in the business, right? And I don't think it'd be a terrible place to start with defining what growth in the business looks like, right? Because last time we talked about how that isn't always just even more revenue, right?
Yeah.
That can look in a couple different ways. So yeah, let's kick it off there.
So I think you've got to start defining like growth in your life first, right? So you can have two types of businesses. You can have a lifestyle business, which really primarily means like I'm using this business for cash flow and lifestyle. And then you can have a bigger company, right? More corporate, like we're trying to build something to sell or to scale, et cetera, right? You run them different. So your goals and objectives, your team members and all that kind of stuff is different. I kind of think like I have both. Right, I have some stuff that gets me cash flow and the team cash flow to invest into the bigger ideas and concepts that we have for longer term, because those longer term businesses, you shouldn't be taking a ton of money out. You should be reinvesting all the time into more marketing, more growth. So instead of setting up goals like I want to double my business, more so be like, what do I want out of life? What do I want for myself in 2024? What outcomes do I want to achieve? You and I and some of the people here wrote out, instead of having goals, our outcomes, right? Like 2024, we got 365 days. What are we getting? I want to have vacations, X amount of vacations with my family. I want to look a certain way, body fat wise. I want to speak X amount of times on stage. I want to be able to have these vacations also on like work trips and stuff with team members and achieve those kinds of results. And what does that number need to look like for me? I want to increase revenue in this other company so it can get to this level, right? And so I'm setting more outcomes than I am goals. Because let's say you have a goal to make $1 million. You make that $900,000 or you make 1.1. If you make either, you didn't hit that goal or you hit it, now you have a bigger goal. You don't have even time to like appreciate what you did, which is crazy because we live in this life like fancy cars, fancy watches, fancy life, blah, blah, blah. But at no point does anyone stop like, what's my mental health? What's my goals for life? Like we started all businesses, most people, because we were broke. We're like, yo, if I can get this, I'm gonna be chill. You never were like, yo, if I can get this, I'm gonna get more cars. And you're like, I can breathe. Then you get a little bit more, then a little bit more. And then you just start comparing yourself and you just want more. You forget why you started this and why you want to do things, right? What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely agree. And it's something I think you have to fall victim to almost.
You have to.
Until you realize, and it's funny because you in your way, right, like there are so many areas where I've had to fall victim to it. And because you're on the other side of it, like you've just been able to tell me, yo, you're going to go through this and like this is going to be what it's going to be. But that kind of framing also kind of just gives you permission to run things in the way that you need to, right? To where you are thinking about it from a place of sustainability. And it's like, it's very easy to find yourself in this frantic place of like, just pour gasoline on it. And like, we're going to do, $1 billion in a week. And you think that you just need to be in that mode for longer. You need to go even harder. But when you start thinking about it more holistically, to your point, what do I want out of life? What does growth look like in my life as far as how I spend my time and how I manage my energy and the kind of experiences that I have and the lifestyle that I have? It gives you permission to not ease up, off of the gas in that you aren't still progressing, but now you can do it in a way that the car is going to go, longer than 2 miles.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to grow your business, let's say you want to double your business next year, a very simple way to look at it is like, what did you do gross revenue this year? What is your net revenue going to look like? And can you increase gross revenues by 10% a month? A lot of times I do this with people and they're like, dude, that's ridiculous. If you do that, you increase your company by 120% that year. If you're stable and maintain that, that's hard. That's a flex. But it doesn't sound hot. It doesn't sound like, yo, like we're going to double, triple revenue. You're going to 100% revenue, at 120 actually. And it's all 10%, but it compounds. But people are thinking like tomorrow, next month, what are we going to do? Instead of like, yo, this slow game consistently compounds. And by the end of the year, I might be bigger than you, who's like, yo, I'm trying to get to this number. And every month I just want to make more. You don't have a plan. So my plan is simple. Like, can we increase revenue 10% per month on brands? Right? And what does that look like? And then after 3 months, that's 30% increase. What do we need to hire? What do we need to focus on? Who do we need to do? How do we need to set up structures for pods or for digital products? Like, what do we need to create? Or for physical products, what's our inventory going to look like and our product launches and stuff like that? It breaks things down to make it a lot easier for you to have momentum, but be peaceful with that momentum instead of being so focused on like, bro, we got to crush next year. What does that even mean? Like, what does that mean? Doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It's a verb. It's ridiculous.
And it gives you more runway as far as like what your structure looks like, as far as like predictable actions that you are going to be able to take. Because I think that's something that's very easy to fall into as well, is like, you know that you want to grow and like crush it, whatever that is that it looks like. But this week that just looks like maxing out the tank, not sleeping, whatever. You don't know what next week is going to look like. You don't know where you're at next week.
Because you don't got a plan.
You have no idea. But at least when I love that approach that you take of like, okay, 10% month over month, because now we know that the thing that we do that we're optimizing towards in January and that we're optimizing towards in November of next year, same outcome that we're growing towards. The way that we get there might look different depending on what growth looked like last month, but that's what we're going for.
Right. You know, and it all really like goes down to like, at the end of the day, 99% of entrepreneurs aren't out here building, eBay and Priceline and big brands like that. We just want to do more, right? So ask yourself what you want. You know, a lot of people don't do that. They just go next year into like, hey, babe, I did this. Next year, I'm going to do this. What is that going to do for your lifestyle? What is that going to do for your life? You know what I mean? I'm a big proponent on those things because I saw my parents' demise lifestyle-wise, and I grew up being the complete opposite of my parents. My parents had money, no money, had money, no money, because they would get it, spend it, lose it, get it, spend it, lose it. And all I wanted to do as a kid was just have consistency. You know, my parents, my dad ended up taking up his life, and my mom became an alcoholic after that. And it's because they were always trying to keep up with the Joneses. And as a dad now and also an entrepreneur, I look at it and I'm like, man, if you had focus of life and like see the beauty of the things you're creating, you don't ever stop to smell the roses and appreciate like how you've grown. How much have you grown as a person since even just knowing me? But imagine even before that, right? Like how much have you achieved? You don't give yourself a break. Yeah. You feel like you're a nobody. And that's not true. And you're just punishing yourself for not being like another dude, but you don't know that dude's life. You know, everybody's got to stop comparing themselves and they've got to start thinking a little bit more like, what do I want? And like, that's the flex. The confidence of having the flex of like, I know what I have and I'm cool with it is a bigger flex than your net worth right now.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Man, so many places to go. But one thing that did stick out to me, and that is a big conversation, you mentioned, okay, you're looking to grow. And part of that is, all right, what new launches, what new can we create? How are we going to get there? Right. And there's a balance between doing more of what you've already found works and trying out new things that are going to be what takes you to the next level. What are some of the signs that you take in to mean, okay, we just need to do more of what's working here, right? It's not maxed out yet, as opposed to thinking of the track of we need to try something new, we need a new product, we need a new approach.
I would say look at revenue. Like, I don't know if you're a course creator, service, or e-com person. Is your hero product just crushing? Then more of that one. How do we advertise it differently, right? And then how do we create SKUs that support it for back end and lifetime value? Or how do we create more subscriptions using that hero product because of the 80-20? If it's services, like how long is our lifetime value of a client and what are they buying? Like what's the best set of selling them, right? Like look at the back data of last year or even this year until this month. We can see that like selling ads as a service brings people in, but they end up staying because of these things and they stay for 5 months. They should stay for 7. Why are they not staying? Like, what are we doing wrong? You can look at all those things, right? Like what courses crushed for me this year? Okay, should I double down on that one? Or is that kind of like fading now because it's not like trendy? Where do I go? Like what's another lead magnet to like resurface and like kind of give vibes back up to this course or product, et cetera, right? Like look at the data that you have. Business is mathematical. It is literally ones and zeros. I want to achieve this, I do this. every time you fail, you get data on why you failed, and you test another 1 or 2 hypotheses to optimize and fix it. And you have a budget and a goal, and like that's how that runs, right? So you also allocate budgets instead of just being like, yo, just toss, we got to run more ads. To achieve what goal? Where do we want to kind of like be to feel that we're good on it, and so we can expend more money or retract and kind of test something different, right? Like a lot of people just go willy nilly and they'll hire an agency or they'll be like, yo, you do it. But like, bro, like at the end of the day, why is someone else building your brand? I'm not, nothing wrong with agencies, but like go with them with goals and objectives that are true. Like, hey, I made 50K on Insta. I got 20,000 on ads. I want to make 100K. I've never ran ads. I got no funnel. I barely have a CRM. Okay, so that's not going to work like first month. Like, you know that, right? But I made 50K on Insta. Cool. Did you want to do that again? Because how did we do that? Because that's more feasible than what you just said, because you've never done this. Every time you do another ad campaign you're in Facebook, you want to go to Google. That's almost starting another business. What am I going to do? What's the best funnel for this? It might be a different funnel. How much budget am I going to allocate to this? Do I have the right setters for this? Like, what's the ads? What's the offer? Blah, 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 right? TikTok, same thing. Like products, same thing. What are we launching? How's it work? Like, you look at it, I look at it as like starting another business. Like, hey, like let's be cautious about this and go low and slow so we can scale. People want to move so fast. You can achieve everything that you want to achieve in a longer time horizon. That's all it is. But you force it, and so you get depressed and you get upset. You get pissed off about these things. You're doing it to yourself because you're trying to push something that you have no concept of, you've never done, but somebody else has been doing it for 6 months, 2 years, and you're looking at them like, yeah, but he's doing it. Yeah, he's been doing it, and it's working. You also don't know the intricacies, cash flow, all the things, right? So I always look at it on a data level.
Data is something that I'm just curious to know experientially, right? In the businesses that you come into, what is their relationship with that influential data like? Do they have enough of it? Are they terrible at collecting data? Like, where do most people
No, the data's there. They just don't have anybody to look at it and make objective decisions, right? Like, let's just go service or coaching, right? I'm selling, you come to me and you're like, hey, I'm making 50,000 a month on Insta. I got a setter and I make my content. I got my thing. I want to scale it. Okay. To what? They usually go like, oh, I want to triple it. I'm like, okay, like let's double it first, right? We have to spend this and this and this because your content isn't bringing in new people onto TikTok or Insta or whatever. So we've got to spend money on ads to support it, get you more DMs things. You might need another setter. Oh, well, how much is that going to be? It's going to be what it is until we test what it really costs to get a baseline and then figure it out. But you want to do more has to happen. A lot of people just come to us and like, I want to do more. Okay, like what more are you going to give? More of your time, effort, team, energy, or money? There's a cost to all of this. And if you're not doing more sometimes, it's because you'll do fly-by-night shit. Like, oh, I want to do this. Like, and in a month, you'll go do something else. And then in a month, you'll do something else because you're just trying to find a buck. That's what keeps you, like, low. Instead of, like, yeah, I'm growing. Like, it's all good to be on your own pace, Just no one wants to be on a pace that is not comparable to someone else that they might know. And that honestly ends up keeping people down. And that's the kind of stuff that messes with your head and creates like mental health issues. Because we live in our heads, especially as entrepreneurs. I mean, I put myself to sleep by thinking, which is gross. I should just try to put myself to sleep by sleeping. Don't know how, right? But I also can't take melatonin and all that stuff because then I wake up as a zombie and I'm like, I'm an idiot.
With the
right?
melatonin?
Yo, dude, like, yeah, no, I can't take anything. Like, I have to just sleep in very cold area in darkness. I can't have like TV on and stuff like that. So it's hard because like my wife just watches TV and I'm like, I can't run it. So I got to fall asleep. I'll fall asleep, and I can't smoke weed. It makes me anxious. It freaks me out. So like, I can't do that. So I just got to sit there and think, it's not the funnest. But, it is what it is.
It works.
Yeah. At one point, it ends up working.
Yeah, at some point. Yeah. Inevitably. I just started trying magnesium. I don't know. Have you tried magnesium?
I take magnesium every night.
Okay. I just started. I'll let you know.
Oh, I got cocktails for you, bro. Oh. But they're all natural.
Okay. I like it. We're talking good.
Yeah.
I love, and we talk about this all the time, just like, a holistic point of view around business that includes mindset, right? And just includes the fact that at the end of the day, like if you're captain of the ship, the way that you're feeling is going to heavily influence where the ship goes, the experience of the journey getting there. I was having a conversation with a buddy yesterday about like, what has helped maintain a positive mindset, right? Comparison is a really big piece of that. But what have been some of the things this year or in your journey that you have been intentional about adapting as far as like how you see yourself?
Really weird sounding, but breath work, because I don't know how to meditate. So I have a sauna at my house, so I do breath work in the sauna. And that helps me like almost like, wake up. I do cold plunging. I got a cold plunge in my place too. And it's not like just for the biohacking purposes. Like it makes me awake. Like, whoa, let's run it. You know what I mean? And the breath work makes you like calm and like present and stuff like that. And it's also the mindset of like, I've been in this industry for 17 years and just business and stuff like that. Almost 18. And I realized that comparing myself creates problems within conflicts in my mind. And when I'm happy, I'm vibing. I'm just achieving, and I'm grateful for what I did that day or where I'm going. But when I start thinking about what you're doing and what he's doing, and what they're doing, I find myself like running around in circles and looking for the next like hit on like what's popping. What do I need to do? And that loses control, and I lose sight of like what I want to achieve because I'm not working and doing these things for me or the goal anymore. I'm doing them to matter to other people. And so a big thing for me is being very cognizant. I have like 3 journals, and then I have a Trello board that all that better stuff goes into. And then I got a notes. Like I write a lot about my mind inside of my ways, right? And it's always reminding me like, hey, every time you try to be somebody else, it doesn't work out. Every time you're cool, no matter people like you or not like you, you like yourself, you're happy. And there's a lot of like, walking into business happy creates momentum, and that creates revenue because it creates no need and no lack. When you're walking in a comparison, you're lacking by immediately, right? So I'm rushing, so I'm stressed, so I'm pushing, and you forget why. And when you chase money or desire stuff like that, money runs. But when you're calm and you're collected, money comes to you because you don't need it. You're good where you are, and so opportunities start to show, and that creates more momentum.
Yeah. It reminds me of something that you said that stuck with me a couple of weeks ago when we were talking, which was like transitioning from that mindset of, oh, like, what if this fails or what if this doesn't go how I want it to a mindset of like, this can't fail because I'm the one doing it, right? Like this is for me, it's by me, and I'm kind of controlling the pieces on the board. But around that subject of control, like that is something that plagues a lot of entrepreneurs and also restricts their business, is because they're trying to continue to be the person making every shot and dunking the ball every single time, right? So how do you kind of balance that awareness that, you and your business and your ability to move throughout the world has so much to do with your ability to know and control yourself, but also relinquish control when you need to when it comes to team and growth?
You tell me your answer first.
Oof, man. I think I've had to realize that I've almost been addicted to the chaos of it. And that's just been the way that I've operated for so long. And so I've had to reframe and like start giving myself permission and understanding that like, okay, you are all for the smoke. Like that's totally cool. Except the smoke for you looks like forcing yourself to go to bed at a reasonable time, when the smoke for someone else might look like forcing themselves to stay awake to do the things that need to get done. I don't have a problem doing that. You don't have a problem doing that, but we'll have a problem potentially resting, potentially leaning into letting go of the reins a little bit so that new team member can step in and fail and get guidance and develop and all of those things. So I've just kind of reframed it as like a different kind of challenge, but also away from that thought that like, me resting or me like leaving control here is me taking a break and getting things off of my plate. I'm seeing it as like, no, this is the smoke that I need to grow and develop, and for everything that I touch to grow and develop.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's taking time to think. Like sometimes I don't come in on Mondays now because when you come in on Mondays here, there's a lot of projects and problems like, oh, and so when I come in on Tuesday, a lot of that's already solved because I wasn't here. And then I come in with a plan for the week, right? And the other thing that I've really been like harping on personally, and I'm working on it, right? It's not perfect, but it's, all right, what's my goals? What do I really need to do? Where do I really need to spend time, energy, and money to make something happen? And like, I'm forcing myself, trying to, when that's achieved, like when we're done with this, like I'm going home, right? Because I've achieved what I needed. The most important thing was to do this today. And then I have the most important things tomorrow. And sometimes staying here creates like stress for myself, for the team, like for more, right? And so I have a goal, and it's basically like, I call it like, impact over effort, right? Like you can put all the effort in the world and be like, yo, I'm here at 9 o'clock at night. Like I'm grinding, like, and money's not directly in any way correlated to like time. I can make a deal right now for $100,000 or $1 million, right? Depending who I'm talking to or what it is. And I can just like say some sentences. Like I've done some stuff like that, right? Or I could grind here and like, I don't think it's going to achieve more because I'm actually just clicking buttons. I'm not doing things that are resulting in bigger lever pools, right? So I'm going back into things now, like how can I do the most with the least amount of effort? Not because I'm lazy, because that's what's going to make me efficient and smarter, right? So if you do the most with the least amount of effort, you're making a massive amount of impact. And I'm not doing a lot of effort. So effort is not important to me. Impact is, right? And so I have a monthly goal, and, you know, people in the office here all the time, I'm like, you want to go to the gym? You want to skip the day? Who cares? We have a goal. If you hit it, let's run it. And if we hit it early, like, all right, we should go bigger. But if we hit it right around there, like, what do things look like? And if you're not hitting it, like, what's the day look like on things like that? So it's impact over effort.
I want to clarify what you said around like, how can I do the most with the least amount of effort? Because I think it would be easy for someone to hear that and think that the only factor there is what you do, right? But what other variables go? Because I hear that and I'm thinking that includes team, and that includes, you know, outside knowledge, and what else goes into that?
The goals, right? Like what if it does include team, like, all right, like what do I need to do to set up the team for success? What money do we need to spend on ads? Like, what do I need to do? Like we're scaling one of our agencies, and one of my partners was like, I'm drowning. And I was like, all right, let's stop that. Like, what do you need? Who do you need? Not what, it's who, not how in that particular situation, right? Like, now how do we help you? Like, who do we get to support you? You know? And so with some people it's who, with some people it's how do we like take the next step? But it always goes back to like a who kind of situation. Who's going to take charge of this? Who's going to do these things? So allocating the right efforts to the right person, but also me being like, instead of like, yo, build this funnel, do this thing. Where's that going? Is that going to make us money, or am I just wasting 3 hours and going to piss him off? Is this going to make us money long term? Be like, hey, you're going to do this. It's going to do nothing, but in 2 months, your efforts here are going to support us there. And this is the impact that you need to create today. Like kind of really planning things out, you know? Do we need to have meetings with the agencies that you're working with, or the 80-20 of like, how many SKUs do we have? Like, what do we need to start cutting? Like, what's important, right? And then start chopping little things day by day. You know, you don't have to create that many objectives every day. And I'm not in the camp of like hustle. I know all my handles are Lowe's Hustle just because someone stole my stuff. So I had to restart it. But it's more important to me to like, how can we keep peace of mind and peace of like centeredness so we can feel great while we're doing the things we need to do, you know? Because Gary Vaynerchuk, bless his heart, but he's always talking like hustle, hustle, hustle. Cool, man. Like, you're also divorced. I can't think you have the best relationship in the world with your kids. And that's cool, but you want something that I don't want. I want to be the best dad on the planet. I want to have better relationships with my wife. I want to be the dad that I never had. I want to support the mom that I never had by supporting my wife. I want to like be the best friend because I don't have family. So like all those connection things matter to me more than money sometimes, you know? And some people are like, yo, that's stupid, bro. I just want to get a bag. I don't want to get another Lambo. I want to do this. Dude, that's dope. That's for you, but that's not it, you know? And so it just goes back to those things.
Why do you think people feel so silly wanting things that are out of the money game?
I think a lot of it comes that the fact that you wanted that when you were a kid. Other people want that. You want to achieve something so people think something of you. The truth is, you know, it's dope to want that. I've bought those things, but they don't do anything. And so there is a real, all the richest friends you have, I know you got a lot of good friends that have, you know, good net worths and stuff. They don't talk like that. They don't even talk about money. They buy clothes at regular, they're chill, you know, because they're so calm in who they are. They got nothing to sell you, bro.
And most of them are on the other side of all of it.
They ain't looking. They ain't got Lambos. I mean, they might have.
Most of them have had it.
They got Cadillacs.
Yeah.
They got an Escalade. They got a new Hummer. They're chilling, bro.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, oh, cool, man. Yeah, that's a nice car. Like, I had it. Like, it didn't. At one point, like, a car takes you somewhere.
Yeah.
At one point, you know, like I want a bigger house for my kids. I want to be that house that has this crazy backyard where like all the kids hang out that are in high school and stuff, and I know all the kids, and I'm that dad and mom and stuff. That's it. It's not so you can see it and be like, yo, Los lives crazy. No, it's for my kids. And if you don't like where I live, like, I don't give a shit. It doesn't matter to me. You know, if you don't like my cars, I had somebody like, yo, why do you got two of the same cars? Like, because I want to. I mean, like, because I don't buy cars because you like cars. I don't care. I told everybody, like, I ordered a 911 and a GT3, and they're like, oh, man, like, you could have got a Ferrari. I could have if I liked them, but I like that car. And that's my car. Like, who cares? You know, like, I'm not here to impress you. Yeah. If you like what I got, that's dope. But I like what I got. I'm happy with that, you know? And a lot of times, like, it's asking yourself and looking in the mirror and asking the hard questions and trying to find yourself. Because a lot of times, I do believe, a lot of times we don't know who we are until we try to find who we are. And we're not a entrepreneur. We're not just this one thing. We're an onion. We got layers, right? And if you're just an entrepreneur, then you're just a money. Then you're just a bag. Then you just work for that. If you're an entrepreneur with a mission and a vision, then you're about other people. If you're an entrepreneur and a great dad and this, then you have layers, right? But we think in money. And a lot of time, the majority of people that think in money or think in hatred and stuff like that is people that don't have, they lack. They're insecure. They come from places where, like, they're scared to try. They're insecure, and they don't want to fail because they already think they're a failure. You know, so you don't try to do more because it's easier to be like, I was treated bad. I never had. I'm not like you, but that's not true. You know, like, you just didn't try. You know,
yeah.
It's like LeBron James was poor. But he's like, oh yeah, but what? But he killed himself trying to be the best. Kobe, same thing, right? Like Jamie Foxx, like a lot of entrepreneurs, like very few start like, yo, so I had a bag. My parents were rich as shit. And now I did my thing. Usually they end up drug addicts because life's so simple. I think one of the best things in the world in finding yourself in entrepreneurship is suffering, because you never want to feel that again. Yeah. You never want to eat Eggo waffles and cottage cheese and eggs and black beans, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and share a car and not know where your money's coming from ever again. So you remind yourself, and you cry at night and you feel like you're a loser. That's beautiful, because if you take it and go like, nah, not me, it's never going to happen again. If you take it and like, woe is me, you're always going to be a loser. But that is on you. It's on you. Yeah. You know?
I just need folks to know that the Eggo and cottage cheese thing, that's a real, he didn't just pull that out of his neck.
No, I only ate that because I didn't have money. I was shredded though.
Still crazy to me.
Dude, they, on God, it tastes delicious.
Dude.
Do it tonight. I'm telling you guys, I know it's crazy. I just didn't have a lot of stuff in my fridge. And I was like, yo, I got waffles, but I need protein. I got cottage cheese. I was like, let's run it. And I put some syrup on it. I still eat it. You know, I still eat like I'm poor just because it's delicious. Yeah. But it's also simple. And now it's also that actually helps. It's easy macros and stuff like that. But like, you know, I wanted steakhouses. I've had invitations. Like, yo, I remember the first time I ever went to an event, I carpooled with a guy and stayed at his floor. And he snuck me in from the back. I didn't get a ticket. I couldn't afford it. I drove with someone. I gave him gas money. I slept on his floor, and he bought me sandwiches from the downstairs hotel. I was chill about it. I was like, man, I can't believe I'm here. You know?
What was the event?
Man, no one's going to know it. It was a Warrior Forum thing. It was 17 years ago, bro. North Carolina. It was, and I was like smitten. I was like, man, all these dudes are crazy. And then I was sitting in this guy, he knew people, so he's like, yo, come up with me. We went to another dude's hotel, and he was like, what are you up to? And at that time I was like, yeah, I'm doing some LinkedIn stuff and this and this and that. He's like, oh yeah, what do you know? And I was like, I know this. He's like, oh cool, could you do a call a week if like I give you some money? I was like, yeah, like what are we gonna do? He wrote an email. I swear to God, his name's Anthony Aries. Wrote an email, made an offer, pushed it out. I made 11 grand that day. Like he gave it to me. Like he made 33. He gave me a third of it. He said he hit it to his list. Like, I'll give you a third of this if you do all the work. I was like, and I get back home. I'm like, bro, I'm rich and I know how these people make money. I didn't have a clue. So I did it, but I kept hanging with these cats and I was like, I can't believe you were in a room and you pressed a button and I got money. Like what's happening? And then I had to do the work, but I was like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. And then I got into that side of the business and stuff. I was like, yo, this is nuts. It's crazy that people now, what's Gen Z and stuff, they're now looking at it like, yo, you can be a creator. Bro, that's been a thing. Yeah. Been a thing, Now
it's just got a sexy little label on it. Yeah. It's got a sexy title.
Yeah.
I love that story, though, because it reminds me, and I don't talk about it much, but, a lot of this happens all the time. The people that when you're younger from school or whatever, as life starts life and y'all go different trajectories.
Yeah.
And I was having a conversation with someone I used to go to school with a couple years ago and was talking about networking and events and all these things. And he posed the question, Rav, like he interrupted me and he was like, I don't know why you think that just anybody is going to stumble across that kind of person that has a list and can send an email and make 30 grand cash flow in seconds.
I mean, you're not going to stumble upon them, but they're available. Mm-hmm. They're in certain
people
sectors.
Think they're not. Like people think
they're called events. You go to events.
People think that like, and this is, I think, kind of what that misconception is built off of. People have this idea in their head that people that make above a certain amount of money want nothing to do with people that make less.
No, dude, yeah, maybe whatever, but they actually give the most advice. They help the most, they're not going to go change your business and things like that. Cause then it gets annoying. But like, I remember when like, man, everyone treated me great when I had nothing. And they gave me advice and stuff. But the problem was like, I had to do it all. Right. And a lot of times people talk to these people and they're like, yeah, do this. It's like, yeah, but I can't. Like, I was just like, all right, how can I? And I couldn't at some point, the first year I did internet marketing stuff. I made, I think like $4,000 and we were in debt. We just got in credit card debt. The second year I made 35. Third year I did like 130. And like the fourth year I did like $500,000. And then I was like, I know how to do this. And then it just, right. Cause then you're like, I got it. But I kept going instead of like, this is all I got. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to figure these things out. And I kept digging into all the assets and all the things. And it's just perseverance, man. Like anybody can have whatever they want if they're willing to suck it up and like their life will suck in the meantime until they get to where they want to be. But it's the equivalent of like, yeah, I weigh 260, I want to weigh 190. Okay. How are we going to do that? It's going to take us time. You've got to learn it. You've got to change. You've got to adapt. You've got to commit. You've got to get serious. You got to change a lot of the things you do and change your habits, change your perception, change the people, give it time as well. Because you can be like, yeah, I'm doing everything and it's not changing. Yeah, buddy, you're 260. You want to weigh $190. That's 50 fucking pounds. Like you lost 6. It's 2 months. Like do it again.
Yeah.
You're losing weight. Keep doing it. Yeah. That's it.
But I definitely think the younger cats in the game, like it's just like the generational piece or with time, like that relationship with time is so skewed because it's so used to everything instant.
What do you see from everything on the lack of people planning for 2024 that's coming up, and it's like just average things where people come to you like, yo, I want to do this and this, and you see them all failing. Like where do you think the biggest failure is in people or companies or whatever?
It's unfortunate. I would say with people, whether it's founders or just like individual, freelance, whatever it is that they're doing, I would say the biggest failure is that they haven't given themselves any reason to believe in themselves. So like I'm always very intentional. Oof. I haven't always been, but as of now, right? I'm very intentional about looking to do things just for the sake of seeing it through. right? Like just to continue to flex that muscle. I'm not doing like nonsense, right? But I will identify things that I don't know what the outcome is going to be, but I know that it is something that interests me. And I know that that is a great muscle to have. And for people that don't build that muscle, planning doesn't do anything for them because they aren't the person that executes on plans.
Yeah, you're building your consistency muscle.
Right. People have no reason to feel like even if they put a pitch perfect plan together, they would be the person to execute on it because they haven't seen themselves do that before.
Yeah.
Most people coast through life, and I'll say that to people and they think that I'm trying to come at them. It's like, I'm never going to come at you for being like most people. That is literally the way the tide goes.
Right.
Everyone that is not most people, it's not by accident. It's because of the intention. It's because, I don't know, maybe a conversation like this where they were shook and they were like, oh, like I'm going to need to your point, change up this and look at this differently and go about this uncomfortable thing. But I think that's the biggest thing is like people don't understand that they lack the faith in themselves, but they also don't understand that that's something that is built. And it's something that is built in so many small ways or can be built in so many small ways. I'm not telling you that, you know, because you want to go and get this business popping, whatever, you need to go and get validation from here and get a pat on the back from this guy and a gold star here. Like, give yourself something to do on a daily, on a weekly, even if it's small, go to the gym, right? I don't really even care what it is. It doesn't matter. But you need to start developing faith in your ability to do something that takes time.
Yeah, I'll leave people with this. I think people need to try to work that muscle because it builds confidence. And there's a big difference in between being conceited and confident. Conceited is somebody who acts confident but is reacting to the level of insecurity that they have. And confidence is a person that has done enough of the same things and failed, and he just understands or she just understands that they're going to be fine because they believe in themselves. Confidence is believing in yourself. Being conceited is projecting a belief you want someone to have about you. And once you believe in yourself and you have that confidence, it's a vibe. Like, it doesn't stop. Like, it just moves forward. And it's up to you to create that for yourself. No one else can give that to you. People can smell it when you have it, but they can also smell that you're insecure when you're projecting your insecurities.
Sure as hell can't fake it.
That's it, guys. I don't think we have all of our ducks in a row, like sites and podcasts and all these things, so we can chop that part. But guys, that's it. If you like it, join the notifications, subscribe. We will see you guys on the next episode, and we'll keep going lives. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see ya.
Let's get it.